Posse, welcome to another episode of Game of Toms. We are going to be reviewing episode 2 of season 7, Stormborn, and what a hell of an episode that it was, marked by the triumphant return of the puppy, Nymeria. There ain't many dire wolves left, and Nymeria's one. We didn't know what happened to her. We haven't seen her since season 1. And I'm very happy that the puppy is back. But this was a loaded episode. We are moving quickly, and I can't believe that next week we're basically going to be halfway done with the season already. But let's break it down. We opened up. We got Daenerys, who has her dragon figurines, which I now want. She's basically... This was a great kind of piece that I was not expecting. And it was just grilling Varys, because... it's kind of easy to forget what he did for Daenerys in that he sent assassins after her. He wasn't really with her. Varys was a major player early on with Littlefinger. They were doing their own schemes and trying to find ways to get power. And basically, Daenerys wasn't having any of that. And you could see that Varys was actually uncomfortable at some points. But he stuck to his guns, said that he was for the people. And listen... for all those who are out there in relationships, Varys proves that having an open line of communication means that you're not going to be burnt alive. Remember that for marriage, because that should be embroidered and put on your wall. But that was pretty intense. Melisandre comes to Dragonstone, and this is a very interesting bit, because Azor Ahai, who's the prince that was promised, the prophecy, everyone thought it was going to be Jon Snow. However... it seems that she was corrected, and it could be prince or princess, which this is going to get the fan theories going crazy on who is Azor Ahai. Is it Jon Snow? Is it Daenerys? Is it both of them? I could see it being both of them, but that was a little tidbit that I was very interested in. I also am very interested to see what happens when Jon Snow arrives in Dragonstone next week and sees Melisandre there. What Dany's going to do when she finds out that Melisandre has burnt children before. I can think that Dany's not going to like that too much. But I think besides Daenerys and Jon, like that meeting that we've been waiting for 7 years, I'm really excited to see Tyrion and Jon again, because their relationship in season 1 was one of the highlights of season 1, and their interactions with one another, you see that they care for one another. I'm really excited to see them. And Jon is realizing that they're going to also need dragons, and of course the dragon glass that is at Dragonstone, because who doesn't want to see dragons versus White Walkers? I mean, that would just be absolutely incredible. One of the interesting things that came a part of this episode as well is when Cersei is addressing everybody and is going through what Dany has done and how she killed all of the masters, she killed the nobles, she burnt people alive. And it's interesting because this is something that's been talked about multiple times, that if Dany, if you look at her from an outsider's perspective, you almost see her as a crazy person, and she can be very ruthless, and she just kills people that, I want to say disagree with her, but deserve it in her kind of view. So that being said, it's interesting to see like her old sins now becoming a part of this new storyline where Cersei's like, look, she's crazy. She's just like her dad. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. And by the way, the fact that there are dragon-killing weapons that are being designed, HBO, I'm looking at you right now. You killed lots of puppies throughout the 7 seasons, all right? Lots of puppies. I swear, if those dragons die, we riot. We're done. I didn't like the crossbow. Not gonna lie. It was cool seeing the dragon skulls. We've heard about it a whole bunch of times. But if one dragon goes down, I'm gonna be very upset watching the following week. Also, a lot of talk before the season on what Jaime's role is going to be, how Jaime's going to feel towards Cersei. And right now, he is all aboard the Cersei train. And he is trying to convince people to fight for her. And I understand it, but I hate it. And I'm wondering if when the battle for Casterly Rock, which looks like it's happening next week, what's going to happen to Jaime? Is he just going to die on the battlefield? Is he going to be playing a role against Cersei at some point? Going to be very, very interesting. You saw Jorah again, and he's got less than 6 months before he becomes a crazy stone man, or the Thing from Fantastic Four. And Sam is going to try to cure him Sam is just getting, like, the worst scenes this season. First, you had Poop and Soup from last week. And then he is digging into Jorah, and it's pus filled, and it's bloody, and it's gross, and it was bad. But you can see that Jorah is definitely going to have a role to play. He's going to survive this, in my opinion, and he will be going back to Dragonstone. He's going to meet up with Daenerys. And also an interesting tidbit is that it also seems that this is, like, being a maester almost isn't for Sam, because everywhere he's turning to, whether it's the Archmaester or his fellow maesters, he's not getting the information that he wants. They're not letting him do what he wants to do. I wouldn't be surprised if he winds up leaving with Jorah, but we'll kind of see where that goes. It should be pretty interesting. Also, as soon as Daenerys was talking to all those people who are in the room, like Olenna, Alaria, all those people, and Yara, it was saying that they were going to sail over to Dorne while they attack Casterly Rock, which we were correct from the trailers, that Casterly Rock will be attacked. There was also a naval battle in the trailers, and we saw that, and I knew that we were going to see that later in the episode, and it was absolutely insane. But before we get to the naval battle, I want to talk about a couple things. One, Olenna, she don't give a flying dragon. Not at all. She's like, listen, all these guys are clever. They're going to tell you stuff. Forget about it. You do you, girl. And I was like, hashtag feminism, hashtag woman power. You go do it. So Olenna's still rocking and rolling. That woman is going to be fantastic till the day she dies, which I hope is not anytime soon. Grey Worm and Missandei have the Emmy for most awkward lovemaking scene, in that this is kind of answering the age-old question on, because Grey Worm's a eunuch, does he not have balls, or does he not have the other fleshy bits? And I don't know if he looks like a Barbie doll. Like, I don't know. And I thought we were going to get an answer, but we kind of didn't, because I was like, oh, they're going to do it. Oh, no. He went the Jon Snow route and went with his mouth. That was a weird sentence. I really wish I'd ever said that. Anyway, and I think, by the way, that's extremely selfish, because if he doesn't have anything down there, you know, and he's doing some mouth stuff for Missandei, there's no way to get paid back. I mean, what are you gonna get, a nice back massage after that? I think that's just a little sexist, if anything. Just want to bring that up. Hot Pie came back, and he's still making pie. I'm glad he came back. He was useless. But he was also the one that told Arya that Jon Snow is the king in the north, and of course they're going to miss each other, because Jon and Arya need to get together so I can see them and they can be happy again as a family. But no, we're going to be stuck with Sansa and Arya. But another thing I want to call to notice is that there was a lot of backlash over Ed Sheeran's cameo last week. But if you look closely in this week's scene, Arya drank a whole thing of ale. She had not really had alcohol before she met Ed Sheeran. So now she's an alcoholic. Thanks a lot, Ed Sheeran. Thanks a lot. But she decided to go back to Winterfell, and she met the puppy! She saw Nymeria. I'm so happy about this. It was mentioned in the books that there's a giant wolf in a pack, and there's a couple things that I'm feeling. One, I wanted them to get back together so bad. I really, really did. I was like, puppy, go home. Arya, go home. But Arya realizing, like, Arya and Nymeria are very, very similar, in that Nymeria is off doing her own thing. Like, she's not domesticated. She's not living up to anybody's expectations. She's leading her own pack. And Arya's going with her own story as well. Like, just like they were talking about the after credits, they were talking about, like, how, like, Ned wanted, was going to train her to be, like, a lady, Arya, of course. And she's like, no, that's not me. And she said, that's not me. So, Nymeria, you go off. You do you, puppy. Do puppy things. Frolic, play, and live forever. And I swear to God, if HBO winds up killing her still, I'm going to be very upset. Jon also has a scene in the crypts with Littlefinger. He chokes him out. Don't talk to my sister, which I don't know if that's the best move to do, because now Sansa's alone with Littlefinger, who could cause lots and lots of damage. So I don't know if that's going to come back and bite Jon. And I'm curious of who's going to tell him that he's a Targaryen. Because the only person that really knows right now is Bran, and he's stuck at the wall right now. I'm assuming, like, getting some wheels for his wheelchair. But we'll see how that goes. It should be pretty interesting. But yeah, that's when you knew that Jon and Arya weren't going to get together. And it's going to be interesting to see also what happens that Jon is leaving. What's going to happen to Winterfell? Is Littlefinger going to do something that he's not supposed to do? By the way, when my Nymeria was totally looking at Arya, I just expected one of the wolves to be like dragging the horse off in the background as a distraction. They're like, okay, we got the horse. We can go now. That would have been just hysterical. By the way, when we get to the naval battle right now, Good God. Is it, like, just impossible that the Sand Snakes and Ilaria, like, that they can't get good dialogue? Like, she's hooking up with Yara, and she's like, the foreign invasion is nearing. And that is just, that's so cringy of a line. Like, it's so bad. And then when Euron came in, which, by the way, what a freaking entrance. His ship, the Silence, comes in, smashes a guy. But at that point, I'm just like, you know what? Kill the Sand Snakes. Just do it. At that point. And 2 out of 3 ain't bad, like the song. So 2 out of the 3 Sand Snakes are now gone. And you know now, see what the gift is to Cersei. He's going to be giving back Ilaria Sand. He's going to be giving them Yara. Theon decided to peace out, went back to his old Reek ways, and decided to be a coward. I'm very interested to see what his arc is. I mean, because he went through years of torture. He went through being Reek. He kind of had a standout moment where he protected Sansa and he killed that woman and they ran away. And you're like, okay, he's back to normal now. And now he's peaced out again. I don't know. I mean, I understand it's more realistic, but it's also repetitive at the same time. And I don't kind of care about Theon anymore. Like, that's me. I don't really care. But it was a really, really cool battle, I have to say. And it really put Euron as a good villain, because last season, he didn't do anything, and he was just kind of the run-of-the-mill boring guy. But he is now, like, I was like, oh, okay, this man is a crazy person, and he walked the walk, and that was pretty crazy, and I loved absolutely every single second of that. But that throws a huge wrench into the plans that Daenerys just had, because now she doesn't have a fleet anymore. She doesn't have Dorne anymore. So this is going to be interesting to see what transpires. What is she going to do? Casterly Rock, it looks like it's happening next week, which I'm very pumped for. But what do you think the next move is here? I mean, are we going to see a Dany and Jon team up? Because now that Dany doesn't have that attack against King's Landing, it's going to be hard for me to see Dany just going, all right, you know what? Let's go all the way up north and see what happens. So let me know what you thought about the episode. If I had to give it a ranking, 9.3, 9.4. A lot of setup still, but I feel like once we get going, it's going to be crazy. And again, it's already moving a lot faster. Ravens are getting there in the next scene, guys. That's when you know it's crazy. By the way, I was very curious about that. How did the Raven that was sent from Daenerys arrive before the Raven that was sent from Old Town? Are they that far apart? I don't know. I could be wrong, but it was just a little weird. Me discrepancy. Let me know what you thought about the episode. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com. That's TomGrossi Comedy. Or at Tom Grossi Comedy on Twitter. Check it out. Do what you gotta do. If you want to save money on your phone bill, go to tom.ting.com. They're awesome. I'm awesome. You're awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.